Hello everybody, welcome back, good morning. Bit of a late start this morning, but everybody's sick at my house still. I'm almost better, I have to say, but still not 100%, probably about 80% health-wise, that would be. So I will be able to do the live stream tonight, no question, so feel free to join me on that. Links in the description below if you want to join the Patreon. Right, let me start with the US 100, basically the futures market to the NASDAQ, all right? So we're going to think about this, the same thing as I said yesterday. There is a trend signal in play on this one, and there's been a retest just this morning, as there has been in the previous week, of that 21 exponential moving average, where we've had some kind of reactions from there. Now look, I'm not saying that this is the best thing you've ever seen in the world. It did measure a 2.3% bounce. Last time we tagged it, we bounced, and got rejected around this level here. Now, this is a trend signal, right? So you trust these signals when they kick in. The trend signal is the itchy cloud giving you a positive cross above the cloud, price action above the cloud, Chiku span above the price action. So that is still in play. Yeah, we're still enjoying that. Not to mention the golden cross retest that took place all the way back in August, which is still technically in play as well. So the NASDAQ, believe it or not, is set up to be bullish and bullish enough to move to new all-time highs. I know it's crazy to say that because obviously that's not a popular idea right now, that stocks can move to new all-time highs, and it may not. It could easily break down. I'm not joking. It could obviously break down. Obviously, anything's possible. The markets only give us a little indicator as to which way it wants to perhaps go, but there's no such thing as a guaranteed setup in any way. But this is more bullish than bearish, at least as of right this very moment in time. And the cancellation of that trend signal will be price action to close in the price, the Chiku span to close in the price action, which means that, if we were to close anywhere in 19,550 or below today, it would be finished with. That trend signal will be over. It's failed. But tomorrow we can go all the way down into 19,000, and then and so on, so on, and so on. So at the moment, it's still in play. All right, I like it for what it's worth. It's kind of good. So that might help Bitcoin. And for Bitcoin, what we're looking at is on the 4-hourly, just front run this ever so subtle golden cross retest. There's no pump signals on this. There's nothing like this on the 4-hourly at least. We might be working on a pump signal of sorts, but it would require a pump all the way up to, and this is what it would be at the moment because this Chiku span's got to get above the cloud, 65,000. 65,000 closed, then yeah, we'll be looking for the top of the range, 68,000 or just below. Look, pullbacks happen. We've had a pullback, and I think, if anything, we should be expecting a bounce now based on what we saw with that 4-hourly on Bitcoin and the daily on the NASDAQ. Also worth looking at the golden cross retest, which took place last week for Bitcoin on exponential moving averages, which was down here at just below 60,000. At the moment, if we zoom in a little closer, we can see that yesterday's pullback was pretty significant, to be fair here, but it was supported above the 21. The 21 was resistance here, here, and here, and now it's support here, and more or less now as well. So this could be resistance flipping to support, and if that's the case, we ought to be looking for this move up. And again, recognise the golden cross retest here, which is also a bullish scenario. Itchy cloud has not got anything going for it. There was a trend signal, a pump signal, which more or less kicked in. We could still be seeing the full potential of that moving up to the top of the range. 67,800 really is what we're calling here, if we're going to get another stage of the pump. But outside of that, yeah, it's a red day today, and red days usually for buying the dips. And if the NASDAQ and Bitcoin's got anything to go by, this dip, I suppose, is worthy of giving a shot. I've taken a futures position this morning on Bitcoin just to see if we can get that move over the rest of the week up to the top of this area. And again, the Bollinger Band itself, the top of that Bollinger Band is 66,380. That's going to be sort of level and descending to a large extent, to be fair. So we'll see how it operates for the rest of the week. But for the moment, this is a dip to be bought with a tight stop loss, which is what I'd always expect everybody to employ, a tight stop loss. As far as altcoins concerned, you can see, they've gone to Rect City. Some of them more or less, the majority at the same extent of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is not, wrecking altcoins massively. but it could obviously if we lose these supports. Now the Bitcoin dominance is still trending up now at this point now, so that pullback from 58.5% dominance, as nice as it was, we did get the support on the 50 exponential, and we're trending back up. So it looks like 58.5% dominance is probably on the cards again now. Let's have a look at the total 2, see what's going on with you. So the total 2 is actually a little weaker than we'd like to see, below all moving averages, getting rejected on the center range, being the 21 exponential and also a horizontal area. So actually, the total 2, really does need to work on something special. There's nothing much more to say about that on the daily, at least. The 4 hours probably not going to look very good. So it's the first time I've looked at this morning. So the 200 simple moving average is being tested now. That is technically a golden cross retest, as we had the golden crosses all fallen back over here. So we might see a move up on this one. I'm not convinced. The way it looks at the moment, I wouldn't risk your life savings on this chart. Each individual chart has got its own thing going on, which is what the Patreon's all about. And bit by bit, I've been talking about these altcoins, at least the ones that I've been focusing on. Part of my major parts of my portfolio, as you can see up here, these are the ones that I've been buying into recently, and throughout the summer actually, some of these quite large positions. I'm quite pleased with the way that they're all shaping up. They're all sitting at major supports. If you're going to see some big moves take place over the next few months, and obviously over the next 12 months, which is really the focus of a portfolio, then I think that we're looking at a pretty decent area across the board for some of these altcoins to be bought, really. Other than that, though, like I say, things are hanging in the balance, and we've got politics and geopolitics and all this sort of stuff that's sort of lurking overhead. So it's always worthy of keeping a fair amount of cash on the side for what could be a black swan that's taking place any minute now. But from a chart perspective, we are sitting at support right now. So perhaps the low is already in for today. Now, if the low is not in for today for Bitcoin, the next area that I would be focused on would be down here, which is another 3.7% down, basically 60,000 flat. 200 simple moving average still give us a decent opportunity to buy a dip before we start to cry all the way down, back down towards the lower 50s, which is obviously, could easily happen. Absolutely could happen. Absolutely. This has been a neat consolidation, I have to say. Bang, 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 bang. So, might be a bit naive to say that it's going to continue to be as neat, but so far it is relatively neat. So the next major area of resistance would be the top of this trend line if we're going to get there. We might be front run before. Now, just finally, just to leave it with you, the weekly is not all that bad either, I have to say. So last week closed above the Bollinger Band Center, 20 moving average. We're still above all the moving averages on the weekly for Bitcoin, which is, considering we're still in a consolidation formation, which most likely will break to the out at some point down the line. We're above all moving averages. They're not in the right place, obviously. They're still higgledy-piggledy, but we're above them all. So this is good for those who want to take their opportunities at the first major retest, which is basically now again. So another small piece of evidence as to why a dip ought to be bought or a position could be taken here. But each one of these moving averages on the weekly is going to offer a major opportunity for a dip buy. The next one down here is 61,600. That's your 21 exponential. Then below that is a 50 exponential, which is 55,500. And obviously then we got trend line, and then these, which are still, we can't rule them out. Obviously, we cannot rule them out. That would be a black swan environment by the dip on that. 40,000 flat, 200 simple, 200 exponential, 37,700. When it comes to momentum, we still have the bullish divergence on the money flow index. Normally, just 2 drives is all you really need to give us that last big push. We measure these out all the time in the bear markets. Bang, bear market found the low. Massive consolidation in the bull market, found the low. Found the top on the bull market, peak, bang, bang, single drive. Found the low at the end of the last bull market, the absolute low that would be, and then this current peak was found as well with the money flow index. So I'm assuming that this is a good enough read to expect the low to be formed, which means that it doesn't mean that we can't come down further, but to expect, based on previous money flow index reads on the weekly, to expect a lower low than 55,000, I think would be Well, let's just say it would be unlikely based on at least based on finding the major tops and the bottoms based on the money flow index. So that's all I'm going to say about it, really. But obviously, you know, you'll probably be checking your portfolio every 35 seconds, as most of us do. That's normal. You ought to get out of the habit of that if you want to trade or invest over the next 12 months. But we all do it, right? We all do it. But this is a weekly analysis here. It's a weekly, with a projection of another 12 months of general bull market vibes and, you know, much higher prices, you know, over the next 12 months, which is my expectation. So maybe checking your portfolio based on a weekly setup, you know, every minute or two is it's just unnecessary pain. So that is my overall analysis for the day and for the next 12 months. It hasn't really changed. Everything really is kind of the same. As I said, you know, back at the end of about this time last year, says we're going to have an alt season. We had the alt season. We're going to consolidate throughout the summer. We're consolidating throughout the summer. Summer's clearly finished now. Where was this major low? Well, it was August. That's technically summer, I believe. And that was the absolute low. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Like I say, I'm 80% in good health. You've got to reserve a 20% for a sneeze. Right, so as far as the overall analysis is concerned, it would appear that it's still absolutely in play. This is the beauty of charting things on a weekly. It gives you, I suppose, confidence in the bit by bit ups and downs throughout, you know, the 1 minute chart all the way up to the daily chart, really. So it's nice to see that my overall analysis from a year ago is still absolutely playing out. That doesn't mean that we can't swoop down, get a higher low, mid-50s, and then that's it. Up, up, and away. Like I say, I have no reason to change that projection. That is my overall expectation generally for loads of reasons that I continue to explain, not just today, but you've seen it many times, I imagine. And so this is the way I expect it to play out. But if we sweep down and hit that 50 exponential again, it would still be a higher low. And in keeping with the direction that I'm expecting, which is that we will break this consolidation formation at some point and then move our way up. The same thing would apply to the total 2, which is where I get the majority of my my bias from, based on the fractal that I've overlaid. And you've been subject to this fractal for a million years now. And that is my expectation. So we're still consolidated. We will find our little low. We will creep out, and then we'll burst out, and then we'll have a great time. That's the vibe. Still in play, but obviously on a day-to-day. And again, it's frustrating, but this is where we are right now. Slow, boring, but the Nasdaq wants to continue up. I expect that should drag the Bitcoin up, and when we finally break out of here, things will get particularly bullish. First area of significance outside of the consolidation formation is going to be, well, to be fair, it's going to be the week high, so we're talking mid-70s and a little higher than that. So that's the vibe. That is it. Nothing more to say. That is it. So I'll leave it with you there. Like I say, join the Patreon if you're interested. Otherwise, hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.